Hi guys, so in this series I keep talking about new David Kibbe's book. To me that is still an addition to his first book Metamorphosis, but it's a beautiful additional information here that can help us to understand this technology much better. I've already showed you before and after, so all these videos you can find on my channel. And of course it's not easy to find another 30 women to show you the diversity. It's a lot of work. It's not that easy to organize, to dress them, to do their hair, makeup, do the photography, to find exactly who you need to find to show you the diversity. So instead they did beautiful sketches to show us different color palettes, different skin tones, different ages, and different versions of outfits. Still, as everything Kibbe, it is slightly upgraded look. I don't think he ever likes casual looks. For him, I think dressing a woman is still an art. He takes his inspiration in those old Hollywood movies. And as I said before, now the recommendations are very general. In his first book, he was telling you which sweater would be best for you, which sweaters to avoid, which pants, which skirts, dresses, and so on. Many things including accessories, shoes, and even bags. And here, he only discusses the silhouette that you need to try on yourself. So first, let's start from dramatics. So he shows us 3 different dramatics, including plus size. He shows us dramatics in different palettes as well. So dramatic, the Deco Dynamo. Yin-yang balance is yang, extreme, sharp. Line, vertical and narrow. Any height is possible, but usually 5'6" and over. Silhouette, you always want an outline that is sleek and narrow. When looking at it, the eye needs to travel straight down in one unbroken vertical. It can be tailored with more structure, or it can be flowing as long as it flows down instead of out. And that is important thing. You can see sharp details and long vertical line in all of these ladies' outfits. It was interesting for me to see that the plus size lady has those big ruffles, but still, if we look at that, our eye travels from top to the bottom. It's not sticking outwards that much. And David also is very precise in which fabric he wants to make this or that outfit. So the first look he's demonstrating to us, it's called Updated Iconic. Height 5'6", season gentle spring, fabric fine twill. We can see light, warm, and bright colors. Second look is called Creative. Height 5'8", season vivid winter, fabric silk crepe with satin lining. You can see how it just goes straight to her body. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have any bust. It's just that bust and the whole shoulder is structured that way that the bust is not pushing the fabric away. So the fabric falls down when it's lying on their shoulders, and that is their difference. And she's vivid winter. That means that her colors are cool, bright. She has big contrast between her skin, eyes, and hair. So he's showing us these examples because it would be way too hard to find women to actually demonstrate all of them, but he just wants to show us how different this all can be. So maybe many of us can find ourselves in these drawings. So next one is plus size. Height is 5'8", season gentle autumn, warm, slightly muted, and not very dark, but her colors are quite intense. Fabric, silk, taffeta. Now let's go to soft dramatic. The Diva. Yin-yang balance, yang with a pronounced yin undercurrent. Line, vertical plus curve. Any height is possible, but usually 5'6" and over. You need both a strong vertical, long unbroken, along with a soft, curved or draped outline. When one is looking at you, the eye needs to travel in one unbroken vertical downward, but should also have curve or drape, especially on top. If there is a flow, it still needs to be elongated. First look, updated iconic. So height is 5'7", season dusty summer, fabric organza blouse, stretch gabardine skirt. So he gives us different hints how we can make it work for ourselves. So dusty summer, cool, muted, and quite light. Looks like she has gray hair here, so also you see he's not limited here. Loads of options. Next one is creative. Height 5'8", season, vivid winter, fabric velvet gown, beaded hat. So vivid winter is bright, big contrast, and cool colors. Very beautiful. Of course, this is all going out. And we don't even see soft dramatics ever in pants. They're all wearing whether skirts or dresses. which is also fine because it gives us the feel of that, but we can always translate this to different looks if we understand the words. Next one we see plus size, and height is 5'6", season fiery autumn, fabric stretch wool crepe. You see, he shows us that even though she looks like double curve here a little bit, yeah? She has that big chest that almost immediately goes to those hips, but as far as she's 5'6", she automatically has vertical line, which is her primary characteristic, and curve is her secondary. Now let's go to romantic. Romantic, la belle. Yin-yang balance, yin extreme soft. Line, curve plus double curve. Height under 5'6". Silhouette. You need an outline that is soft, allowing the curves to be accommodated. When one is looking at you, the eye needs to travel around both curves. It can either skim the body, not too tight, or flow outward. Fluidity is important, nothing stiff. So here you can see it can flow outward, which is opposite to dramatic recommendations, because dramatics have to have that vertical line, so our eye would travel from top to the bottom, and these ladies can have outward flows. Let's check the looks closer. Updated iconic, height 5'4", season soft summer. Fabric silk chiffon. Soft summer, and here it's interesting thing because soft summer is a lady that has cool undertone. She is light and she has slightly muted complexion. So here we can see that this dress is in yellow color, but the yellow is chosen with slight blue added to that. So that yellow comparing to warm yellow would be much cooler color. It's quite pale yellow. Yellow of a banana, yellow of a lemon. This is normally a cool yellow, not an egg yellow. Number 2, creative, height 5'2". So this is a really petite and very soft girl. Season bright winter. Fabric opaque cotton lace. So she is winter. She has dark contrast, quite clear skin, clear eyes, clear hair. She has cool undertones, so she's wearing that bright white color. And yeah, she's having the triangle neckline here. It's for someone who's taking everything from Kibbe too straight, and if she's romantic, then she has to have everything rounded. Not necessarily, it works head to toe always. So he made that hair for her in a rounded manner, kept her curls, not frizzy hair, just defined curls, soft earrings, soft makeup, and you can see sharp shoes. Again, we look at the overall thing. So she has this very glamorous jumpsuit, and it's quite sleek. It just goes around her curves. It doesn't mean that this jumpsuit would not go for some other type, but this is how it looks on this particular type, and it looks beautiful. Then next one is plus size, and as far as she's 5'3", she doesn't have that automatic vertical line as her primary characteristic. So her primary characteristic is curve, and her additional is double curve. We can see that outwards flow, we can see the drapes, we can see rounded earrings and very soft waves on her hair. And she's vivid autumn. She's warm, a bit contrasted and on a brighter side. Colors is a very important subject for him. We're gonna talk about colors too. He has the whole chapter about colors. So next one is theatrical romantic, la femme fatale, yin-yang balance, yin with a yang undercurrent. Line, curve plus narrow. Height, under 5'6". You need a shapely outline that allows for and accommodates your curves. When one is looking at you, the eye needs to travel around them. It can be more fitted or more fluid, but the curves need to always be evident. He says it can be bigger or smaller, but you still should accommodate your curves. Updated iconic look. Height 5'2", season fiery autumn, fabric blouse silk, charmeuse, Toreador's stretch cotton blend. We can see a woman in pants. These short pants are called Toreadors. Of course, you're not gonna walk your dog like that, but still, it's not the point. The point is just to demonstrate the type, demonstrate the lines of their body. She's fiery autumn, warm and very bright. So her hair is long. She has very precise wave, nothing crazy. Everything looks quite soft. She's curvy, but she has this narrow curve about her. Next one is creative, height 5'5", season vivid winter, fabric stretch linen. Very beautiful, very contrasted look, and vivid winters normally are the ones who look best in white and black outfits, so she is bright, clear, and cool in her coloration. I love this dress very much. I would probably wear that myself. Beautiful. You can see that contrast, but still he's accommodating those narrow curves. He's not going anything crazy here. Now let's look at plus size and height 5'3", season gentle spring, fabric metallic silk chiffon. I think at this point it's a little bit hard to differentiate romantic and theatrical romantic. They're plus size. There's still gonna be some extra flesh there, but maybe it is still possible. Maybe we can have the hint in the faces too, because face will have some more delicate bones, maybe a little bit sharper features, because face will have those narrower bones, those sharper features. And again, we can see very tidy wave on her hair. She's gentle spring. That means that she is not super bright, but she's very light and very warm. Next one is dramatic classic. Haute powerhouse. Yin-yang balance, balanced with yang influence. Line, vertical plus balance. Height will be under 5'6". Silhouette, you need a clean, smooth outline with tailored or sharp edges. Nothing too extreme or severe. When one is looking at you, the eye needs to travel downward relatively straight. Likewise, any drape or flow needs to move downward, not out. Keep it fairly close to the body without being tight. Time-honored simplicity with a fashion-forward scoop. So you see, for everyone whose primary characteristic is vertical, he is suggesting to have these vertical silhouettes more than anything outwards, and it makes perfect sense to me. I personally think when it's a little bit outwards, it's not going to be a disaster, but if it's too much, that can create quite a big contrast for them. For example, this is when we can see the difference between them and romantics, for example. Something that for romantics looks just normal, for dramatic classic would already look a little bit too much. And let's look at the looks. Updated iconic, height 5'3", season bright winter, fabric wool and cashmere. Many people are dressed like that nowadays. And it's actually quite classic outfit, and wide pants and that classic stripe, that blazer, everything is super modern. She's bright winter, that means she has quite clear, cool, and she has big contrast, in this case, between her skin and her hair. And you can see that here she has asymmetrical bob, shortened at the back and longer at the front. About 1 inch difference, and this is what I normally suggest to majority of women when they don't know what to go for. This is one of those hairstyles that would look good for everyone, for someone who just can't be with long hair anymore, but also wants to keep that femininity and doesn't want to go necessarily too short or opening their ears, because normally when you open your ears, it's already slightly different look. It's a little bit more edgy look for a woman. So that is a beautiful way how everybody can still style it the way you want. Keep the length and make it work for your facial features. Beautiful thing. So let's look at creative look. So height 5 and 5.5, season vivid summer, fabric silk crepe. So every time David says the word vivid, I can see brighter colors. This is probably what he means. Vivid summer, meaning probably still brighter colors, cool colors, but lighter palette. So we can see gray hair here. Again, beautiful middle length bob, side parting, again, very well shaped. Nothing is sticking out. This is definitely a dress to go out. We can see long vertical line from head to toe. Now we can see plus size, and it's very cool, I think, that he shows here plus size dramatic classic wearing a suit, because plus size dramatic classics can have a lot of extra flesh here around the chest, around hips. In the blazer, your size should look just fine on you. And here she's wearing it opened too, because for some ladies it has some strange wrinkles around the bust area. Sometimes you just need that support. So height 5'4", season gentle autumn, fabric raw silk. Again, when he says the word gentle, the feeling I get is that the colors should be a little bit more light and not as bright and intense. And she's definitely warm in coloration and slightly muted. She has this beautiful coral suit, and this suit is all same color. Now let's go to soft classic. Haute elegant. Yin-yang balance, balanced with a yin influence. Line, curve plus balance. Height will be under 5'6". Silhouette, you need a smooth, clean outline that softly skims the body. When one is looking at you, the eye will travel in a fluid manner. subtly moving around the curves, shapely without being tight, time-honored simplicity, skewed toward the stylish, smooth clean outline, and should be fluid manner just around your curves. Updated iconic, height 5'4", season dusty summer, fabric polished cotton. Dusty summer is quite muted palette, dusty, cool, and light. We can see that her hair looks like Grace Kelly, nothing crazy. Classic ladylike look of the 50s. The fabric goes around her curves on the bust and the skirt. The skirt is flowing outwards, but it still can go straighter too. So creative, height 5'3", season vivid winter, fabric silk crepe de chine. So she's bright, cool, and contrasted. We finally can see soft classic in pants, what it would look like, and interesting that he's adding those small drapes and that little detail around her waist, which is quite asymmetrical. And I remember he was talking about classics in his book Metamorphosis, that they look beautiful in symmetry. He suggested symmetry for them, so there was symmetrical parting for the hair, very symmetrical outfits. But here we can see that no more that symmetry in that literal sense. It still looks calm and quite classic, but just not that right and left same. And we can see that fabric goes around her curve. We can still see waist. So he's showing us that for them it's important to show the waist if you want that elegant look. Plus size, height 5'2", season fiery autumn, fabric velvet and organza. She's fiery autumn. The word fiery makes me believe that it is intense colors in a warm palette. Even though slightly muted, it's not clear colors, it's just that muted terracotta color. Very beautiful. So he's showing us that she has this very flowy suit. Flowy top, not very long, just approximately to the middle of the hip, so she can pull that off even though she's 5'2". And that beautiful gown on top with thick vertical stripes, by the way. So you see, it's not that literal that she can have stripes and they have to be that size. She can't, you see, and it just doesn't look very geometric. You just gotta apply your judgment and just see which one looks way too harsh for you as a soft classic and which one is just fine. And you can see when a woman is wearing something colorful in her palette, not something dark or black, in colorful pieces, something that would have those mid-tones in their palettes, those rich tones. And the color softens the silhouettes, softens the patterns. If that was black and white, of course she would not look already same, so that is part of the equation. Flamboyant natural. The nonchalant showstopper, yin-yang balance, young, bold, blunt. Line, vertical plus width. Any height is possible, but usually 5'6" and over. Silhouette, you need a relaxed, straight outline that is long and unbroken, with breadth through the upper back, shoulder area. When one is looking at you, the eye will travel in one bold sweep, moving downward. Any flow drape should move downward, not out. That is very interesting thing, and I do agree with him. It's just sometimes when it's too out, and especially in combination with color blocks and something short, not working, unless it's a very specific. Every rule has exceptions, every rule, but in many cases it is true. Updated iconic look, height 5'7", season gentle autumn, fabric chiffon. So gentle means the colors are not super bright, but they're warm and they're in a mid-range. She doesn't have that very bright contrast, but she has quite bright, intense colors. And again, you can see that long vertical line that she has on her dress. And it's interesting that the pattern he chose, this wild tropical plants, that is another hint to us. So that is the freedom of flamboyant natural. You can see that wild mane hair, a lot of volume, big earrings. But interesting thing is this dress has waist emphasis and it has small drapes on the waist, which is quite elegant and small and delicate piece. And of course this interesting long sleeves create that vertical silhouette. So next one is creative. height 5'9", soft summer, fabric more with satin lining. So we can see 90s supermodel here. Yeah, majority of 90s supermodels are flamboyant naturals. She's quite tall, 5'9", so we can see slightly wild hair with a lot of volume. We can see big earrings, quite narrow pants. We can see waist emphasis. We can see belt, which is not super thick, but still everything is in white color, so it just goes from top to the bottom. She's soft summer, so it's not quite pure white. It's a little bit ivory color. It's off-white. And she is muted and she's cool in coloration. And we can see underneath there's that satin with floral print. And there's a lot of movement in that. And then we can see plus size. Height 5'8", season soft winter, fabric silk charmeuse and organza. Soft winter tells me that her palette is quite soft, so she has quite light eye color, probably very light skin, so probably not to overload her with different bright colors and dark colors of her palette. He chooses that very soft color on her. Still cool, still bright, but not super bright, not the brightest, not the most intense. And we can see top, pants, and this see-through coat. One long vertical line, same color, so he's not doing any color blocks here for her. So the eye does travel from the top to the bottom. And everything is free here. But two previous looks, they were quite narrow. They're not very wide. And he doesn't do that super crazy 80s hair anymore, so he shows us, yes, they look great with length, with some volume, with some waves, or even straight hair, but preferably it should have some volume. Now let's go to soft natural, the sassy cover girl. Yin-yang balance, yang with a yin undercurrent. Line, curve plus width. Height will be under 5'6". Silhouette, you need an outline that has breadth through the upper back and then moves around the curve. When one is looking at you, the eye will travel out and then around. Any flow or drape should reveal the curves, but not be stiff or too tight. Nothing fussy for you. Interesting, he says, the eye will travel out and then around. And you still need to reveal your curves, but the shapes should not be very stiff. So updated iconic, height 5'3", season bright spring, fabric rayon. Warm, bright and light colors. So we can see this asymmetrical wrap-up dress. Very casual, very summer, with big floral print. It's interesting, her hair has straight parting. Straight parting and long hair is normally hippie time, and it's 70s. So it's interesting how he plays with this look. And very simple short sleeves, like a t-shirt short sleeves. It accommodates the width on top just easier. And creative, we can see 5'5", season vivid autumn, fabric stretch satin. So we can see vivid autumn is bright colors, intense colors, warm and fresh. Maybe slightly muted because autumns are normally a bit more muted. We can see slight highlights on her hair. Looks like an updo, but it's very free, it's very natural. She has these earrings that match the dress, that match the shoes. Yeah, David Kibbe likes these matching colors in the outfit, and we try not to match now. Matchy things, they don't work in modern fashion. Same with interior design. We try not to match the chair with the sofa, and it was very important in the middle of 20th century to have everything matched. So I understand where it comes from, and sometimes you want to match, why not? I think it looks very beautiful. Feels that all together. And it's interesting here because I wanted to mention that off-shoulder neckline of this green dress. Normally they don't recommend doing this type of a top if you have broad top. So some people say it can accentuate the width. I think on this particular picture this is totally balanced with the shoes that she has on. But David Kibbe likes to mention that he is not the one who is correcting figures. On contrary, he's choosing something that would repeat your shape because there's nothing to correct. And I love this philosophy very much. It's very freeing. Plus size, height 5'4", season, vivid winter, fabric, taffeta with organza overlay. So you can see, again, curvy woman, not very tall. She doesn't have a vertical line, but she has width here on top. Her shoulders, her ribcage is quite wide. Plus, she has some softness, some curves. She has these beautiful braids. And I love the dress. The dress is beautiful. We don't see any pants here as well, but we definitely can extrapolate from everything that he said before, and I'm gonna do that soon in my course. So if you don't see the link under this video and in the comments, then it's gonna be soon under my each video, so you won't miss it. Now let's go to flamboyant gamine. Très chic, iconoclast. Yin-yang balance, combination of opposites, extra yang. Line, vertical plus petite. Height will be under 5'5". Silhouette, you need an outline that includes a combination of two things. 1. A base of one long line moving straight downward close to the body. 2. On top of this, detail, separate pieces, accessories that add breaks to the base. When one is looking at you, the eye needs to travel downward in a staccato fashion. You need to keep your base close to the body. Any flow needs to move down, not out, and have the same breaks. Detail is crucial to your silhouette. Again, vertical is her primary characteristic, so she needs to go for more vertical silhouettes, not outwards. No those A-line skirts and bouffant skirts and puffy sleeves and all those drapes. No, we need vertical line. But as far as her secondary characteristic is petite, color blocks and small details and contrasts really help to support that. Updated iconic, height 5'5", season soft winter, fabric boucle jacket, cotton t-shirt, leather pants. It's interesting, she's soft winter. Soft winter is probably softer colored winter. So she has cool coloration, she has big contrast between her skin, eyes and hair, or her skin and hair, but she probably has some softness around her. Maybe this softness due to her light eyes again. We will see. I still didn't dive deep into that chapter about colors. We will see soon. I'm just investigating this whole thing here with you. So we can see short hair. He talked in this first book that long hair normally are dragging them down because they're petite. So it's not that it becomes disproportional, it's just not fitting their vibe. They look just much more tight and cool with shorter hair, and I do agree about this for many girls. However, I do think that there are loads of flamboyant gamines who do look good with longer hair, but you just should know how to create an outfit around that, just not to make it drag you down too much. And we're definitely going to talk about this. So we can see slim pants, short cropped top, all these stripes, all these color blocks, and he's dressing them in this Chanel cropped jacket, and I love this very much too. It's not just that regular blazer type, it's just that cropped blazer. And even shoes have these two dots as a contrasted detail, something fun, something interesting, not very banal. Creative, height 5'4", season vibrant spring, fabric polished cotton. So we can see vibrant spring. Vibrant spring is probably all those super bright warm colors and light coloration at the same time. So you can see, again, she has short hair, but her hairstyle here is curly, which is interesting. I was very happy to see that. So that type of a hairstyle somebody would rather suggest to romantic. It's very Marilyn Monroe type kind of a hair. But as far as she has kind of curls all over, and also when you have curled fringe, that adds to that slightly edgy look in my viewpoint. Not that glam situation. But I love the outline. Outline is round actually, which is cool. Because I had this in my mind that probably for everyone who has curly hair, David would suggest still something more geometric, like he used to do those triangular cuts for women with small curls. But no, and I love it. I think it's very cool. So we can see this very geometric dress with actually very big pattern, but it doesn't look like pattern. When the pattern is that big, it stops looking like pattern. Normally it looks like color blocks. And then we have this detail of drapes, but she looks like a candy in a package. And I like this. And look at the shoes. The shoes are super cool. And it's funny, I have shoes with a similar heel. There are loads of it they're selling right now. And I think these shoes look quite cool and elegant, and I don't think they will be out of fashion anytime soon. To me, they probably go to classic category already, so I think it's totally safe to buy something like that, unless it's too exaggerated or weird. And plus size, height 5'3", season bright winter, fabric rayon. So she's bright winter, she has blue eyes, very clear, big contrast between her hair, skin and eyes. Her hair is clear black. Her skin has cool undertone. And again, I know it's not easy to determine your type when you're plus size, because you definitely have some extra flesh. And in my viewpoint, your body's still gonna push the fabric out a little bit when you're plus size. You just have that extra flesh everywhere. But we're definitely gonna see some great examples of real celebrities that he typed before. We're gonna compare them to the sketches. We're definitely gonna check some plus sizes too. We're gonna compare and see what exactly he means by this outline. I'm very curious. I love this outfit very much. I think it's very, very cool. Again, she has this small geometric pattern, very long v-neck. It's just for us who said for petite girls only high neck, not always. We can see big geometric neckline, which looks kind of cool. She has this hairband, which is great. She's curly, so he just did this pixie cut for her afro hair, and I love that so much. That's what I say. Afro hair is very stylish thing by itself, and I think every image identity can rock different lengths pixies with afros. She has these pants which are actually quite wide, but I'm sure they sit pretty stiff on the butt, which is important, especially for flamboyant gamines. Otherwise they might look a little bit slouchy, especially if their legs are short, especially if they're not wearing high heels. Sometimes that might happen, but overall, when you're wearing high heels, normally balances all the proportions, and you can rock those long pants. Last but not least, soft gamine. Très chic, irresistible spitfire. Yin-yang balance, combination of opposites plus extra yin. Line, curve plus petite. Height will be under 5'5". Silhouette, you need an outline that includes a combination of two things. 1. A base of one line that moves around your curves. It's just because you're curvy. Your primary characteristic is curvy. 2. On top of this, you need detail, separate pieces that add breaks to that base. So for all the gamines, it's good to have those color blocks. But for her, it's good to accommodate the curves plus those details and color blocks. When one is looking at you, the eye needs to travel around your curves in a staccato fashion. Any flow needs to move outward like a flounce, adding the same breaks. Detail is crucial to your silhouette. Let's look at the outfits. Updated iconic. Height 5. Tiny. Season, soft winter. Fabric, rayon. So she is soft winter. She has this beautiful, slightly 1920s dress, tiny shoes, everything slightly doll-like, and again we can see short hair, asymmetrical. She looks like a doll. We can see the neckline is contrasted. There's that stripe on her hips which is contrasted, and we can see all that flowing around her hips, and we can see that the sleeves and the skirt is going outwards slightly. Next one, creative. Height 5'2". Season, soft summer. Fabric, tulle. Again, huge detail, that flower at the front of her dress. You can see actually all the dresses are short. They normally don't look very good with everything too long. They can look like little girl in their mama's dress. But again, I think it just depends. Different special soft gamines. I saw soft gamines that look amazing in a long vertical line, but it just has to be some other elements in place for that. You can see that she has this choker. Even though she has this low neckline, she has this choker that kind of lifts everything up slightly, just to compensate for her petiteness. And very similar to previous hairstyle, she's soft summer, meaning her colors are cool, soft, and quite light. And interesting, despite that she's petite, he did this shoes with loads of bands around her ankle. Normally people don't recommend that unless your ankles are really delicate. But again, David Kibbe is not correcting anything. He's just working with your nature. So plus size, height 5'3", season fiery, autumn, fabric, silk satin. And we can see actually quite big polka dot, and I probably would never think of that big polka dot for soft gamines, but it's a great example. And again, we can see the sleeves going outwards, the skirt is going outwards as a detail. So it kind of looks sharp and rounded and soft at the same time. So she has all those different frills, very interesting earrings. And interesting that in his first book, he didn't recommend any hanging earrings for any of the gamines, dragging them down slightly, but here, yeah, he uses that, and I think it's quite cute, especially if the hair is short. I think is just the combination of too many details. Let's say if she had long hair, long earrings, long everything, long neckline, long dress, not have enough heels to balance that length of a dress, it would be vertical line dress, then we would start seeing dissonance. But I love here. I haven't seen him doing soft gaminen pants, but I'm sure it's something similar to that. That was long, but I enjoyed it. I'm sure we learned something new today, and I know that the fashion nowadays has changed. Not everyone wants to go for those bright colors, for those silhouettes. There are many women who still require capsule wardrobe, just to be able to combine all those things, find outfit very fast. But we're gonna talk about this in my future videos, but mostly in my course, of course. As I said, as soon as it's ready, I'm gonna leave the links down below in this course. Alright, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions for me, if you want me to make a video as an answer on your question, please leave them down below in the comments. I might make a video about this. Thank you. Bye-bye.